Been waiting a long time to do this. Finally! Trade trees are back on the Sportsnet YouTube channel. Hey everybody, Steve Dangle here. Hope you don't mind that we took a few months off from trade trees. There was kind of a lot of hockey to deal with, but they are back, where we take a look at a trade that happened at any point throughout NHL history, and we look at how it evolved over the years. You've been asking for them for a long time. And if you're a fan of the Edmonton Oilers, be careful what you wish for. Because we're about to talk about a man who very recently played in some big playoff games in Edmonton wearing blue and orange. It just wasn't with the Oilers. This is the awful many-layered onion that is the Jordan Eberle trade out of Edmonton. Now, there is a reason that this jersey is behind me for this trade. There was a brief moment in history where Jordan Eberle was legitimately, within Canada, one of the most famous Canadians. In 2008, the Edmonton Oilers selected Jordan Eberle 22nd overall in the first round, and not everyone loved the pick. And I think I know why. This wasn't just any first rounder. This is one of the first round picks that the Anaheim Ducks gave the Oilers in exchange for Chris Pronger. Chris Pronger, who went all the way to the Stanley Cup final with the Edmonton Oilers before falling to the Carolina Hurricanes. Chris Pronger, who left town somewhat unceremoniously, and Chris Pronger, who went on to win a Stanley Cup with the Anaheim Ducks. You get two first-round picks in a trade, you expect them to be something. Well, the 2007 first that was given away in that trade ended up being 30th overall because the Ducks won the Cup. So yeah, you get two firsts out of the deal, but they end up being 30th in 2007 and 22nd in 2008. They better get someone who's really good. And they select this kind of undersized scoring winger from the Regina Pats named Jordan Eberle. A little under 6 months after being selected, however, Eberle would become a household name. During a crucial semifinal elimination game against the Russians, Jordan Eberle ties the game with just 5.4 seconds remaining, sending the game to overtime and then later the shootout. Now, we can't show you the footage of that goal because we don't own the rights to it, but I'm sure you've all seen it before. It sounded something like this. Jordan Eberle scores! Tie game! Can you believe it? I can't! Because, followed by 15 minutes of ranting about icing, Canada would go on to win that game, they would go on to win the gold medal, and Eberle was a Canadian icon. Now that is the goal that everyone remembers, but what could have been the next year in Saskatchewan? Because Canada's in the gold medal game again, this time against the United States, and they're down by a pair of goals. Who scores both goals to tie the game for Canada? Jordan Eberle. It's still one of the loudest ovations I've ever heard in my life. Of course, the game goes to overtime. Canada has a chance. Puck goes the other way. John Carlson wins it for the United States, and I was miserable. But if Canada wins that game, the already mythical stature of Jordan Eberle would have become godlike. After scoring 106 points, 50 of which were goals in just 57 games in the WHL, Eberle turns pro. Or actually, I should say he turns pro for the second time. At the end of the 2008-2009 season, Eberle went to the Springfield Falcons, the Oilers farm team, and put up 9 points in 9 games. The following season, 6 goals, 8 assists, 14 points in 11 games, 0 penalty minutes to boot. It seemed like the Eberle hype train was express and never going to stop, but I'm sure he'll score like a really reserved first NHL goal, just so that people don't get their hopes up, right? Where to begin? He scores it in Edmonton. He scores it against the Calgary Flames. He looks off Sean Horkoff. He pulls off that move against Mika Kiprasov. Are you kidding me, kid? 18 goals, 43 points in 69 games as a rookie. 34 goals, 76 points in 78 games as a sophomore. But unfortunately, that 30-goal plateau, that 70-point mark, they're both marks that Eberle would never hit again as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. There was the lockout-shortened 2013 season after that, and from then on, Eberle always scored at least a 20-goal pace, at least a 50-point pace, which is, that's a good player. But after the 2013 season, Jordan Eberle signed a 6-year contract where he would make $6 million per season. And new and shiny toys don't always remain that way. And newer, shinier toys come about. Between Jordan Eberle getting drafted drafted and the Oilers' first playoff appearance, the Oilers picked first overall 4 times, including 3 straight. Taylor Hall, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Nail Yakupov, remember that guy? And of course, Connor McDavid. You might have noticed that doesn't even include Leon Draisaitl, 3rd overall in 2014. And that can be a tough combination because at the same time you're getting these new shiny toys, it means the team still stinks. But it's okay, it's okay. By 2016-17, the Oilers no longer stunk and they were playoff bound. And Jordan Eberle was a big part of that. In a full, healthy 82-game regular season, he had 20 goals and 51 points. And while the Edmonton Oilers were this amazing, exciting, high-octane offense during that playoff run in 2017, Eberle had just 2 assists, no goals in 13 games. $6 million per year, that's the only playoff experience anyone has to go on after you were drafted 9 years ago. The mood was sour on Jordan Eberle. And I gotta say, I hate the way Eberle was sent out of town in Edmonton. It depends what the logic was. If the logic was simply, hey, we need the cap space, let's try to clear some room, I could get past that. But don't try to tell me because of 13 games Jordan Eberle is a bad player. And then, June 22nd, the trade is 1-for-1. Jordan Eberle heads to the New York Islanders in exchange for another former high pick, Ryan Strome. High pick might be an understatement. He was selected 5th overall in 2011. And he had scored 13 goals, 17 assists for 30 points in 69 games with the Islanders. And I'm no math whiz, but that is less than what Jordan Eberle had with the Oilers, 20 goals, 51 points. The difference being, Strome, who is a few years younger than Eberle, was in the 2nd year of a 2-year contract, paying him $2.5 million against the salary cap. So you can see the logic at work here. Okay, you don't have to think Jordan Eberle is bad. You're probably going to take a hit on production here. But you get to free up $3.5 million of cap space. What's that? Oh, how did it go? Well, it's a Simpsons reference I've used several times in trade tree videos, usually pertaining to the Leafs, but this trade epitomizes, no, dig up, stupid. Jordan Eberle's first season with the New York Islanders, 25 goals, 59 points in 81 games. That's pretty good. Ryan Strome played in all 82 games. That's the good news. He scored 13 goals and 21 assists for 34 points. Now, that's more points than he had the previous season, but the previous season he only played in 69 games. He actually, for goals and points, scored at a lower pace. Eberle's numbers were going up, Strome's were going down, but ultimately both the Oilers and Islanders missed the playoffs that season, so who's to say who won, am I right? And the next season, in 17-18, Eberle didn't even break the 20-goal mark. He only had 37 points. Ha! Strome, meanwhile, had just 1 goal and 1 assist for 2 points in the first 18 games he played that season. To which the Edmonton Oilers said, hey, we've never been bit making a big decision based on a sample size of games in the teens. Let's trade him. And so they did. They traded Ryan Strome, who they had just re-signed to a contract making $3.1 million against the cap, in exchange for Ryan Spooner, who was making $4 million against the cap. But to even it all out, the Rangers retained $900,000 against the cap, but both players still had like 2 seasons left on their deals. And so now Ryan Strome's job in Edmonton was over, and his job was to be as good or better value than Jordan Eberle. Ryan Spooner's job in Edmonton was to be the best Ryan in this trade. And in 25 games with the Edmonton Oilers, Spooner put up 2 goals and 1 assist for 3 points. Ryan Strome, however, in the 63 points remaining in that season, he put up 18 goals with the Rangers, 15 assists for 33 points. Ryan Strome actually scored at a 42-point pace for the Rangers, which was a higher scoring pace than Jordan Eberle. But he didn't do it for the Oilers, he did it for the Rangers. And the Oilers said, all right, we waited a long time on this one. It was 25 games this time. We're gonna trade Ryan Spooner. And so, February 2019, the very same season they made the Strome for Spooner trade, the Edmonton Oilers traded Ryan Spooner to their divisional rival, the Vancouver Canucks, in exchange for former Edmonton Oiler Sam Gagner. Now, I do not have a smart alecky line about this one because this trade, the Edmonton Oilers undeniably won. Spooner played 11 games with the Canucks, put up 4 assists, and then he was gone. As I shoot this video, he is actually the 2nd leading scorer on the KHL's Dynamo Minsk, behind their leading scorer, Rob Klinkhammer, Oilers fans. And at the end of the 2018-19 season, Sam Gagner put up 10 points in 25 games for the Oilers. Hey, that's not bad. That's not bad. And actually, the next season, that's the 2019-20 season, that's the season that just finished, Sam Gagner had 12 points in 36 games. That's a point every 3 games. That's not so bad. And the Edmonton Oilers are playoff bound. There's nothing bad about that at all. And so Edmonton Oilers GM Ken Holland decides, you know what? Sam Gagner could be a valuable trade chip. So he trades him. And Oilers fans, I'm not gonna lie to you, the Oilers win streak in this trade tree ends at 1. February 24th, 2020, the Edmonton Oilers send Sam Gagner, their own 2020 second rounder, and their own 2021 second rounder to the Detroit Red Wings in exchange for speedy winger Andreas Athanasiou and Ryan Kuffner. That was February 24th. March 12th? The season is postponed because of COVID. Stupid COVID. Before the postponement, Athanasiou had 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points in 9 games with the Oilers. And then we get to the bubble in Edmonton. Goose eggs across the board. 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 points in 4 games. And Edmonton is eliminated in their own building by the Chicago Blackhawks. But it's okay. He's going to be an integral part of the Oilers for years and years to come. Nope. The cap stays flat. Once again, because of COVID, stupid COVID, and the Oilers do not even extend a qualifying offer to Athanasiou. And unless something changes after this video is uploaded, Athanasiou, not qualified, is now an unrestricted free agent, and Ryan Kuffner, also a UFA. Meaning, after the Strome trade, the Spooner trade, the Gagner trade, the Athanasiou trade, the Edmonton Oilers have nothing left in the Jordan Eberle trade tree. If you want to be mean, they have less than nothing left because they gave up those 2 seconds as well. And speaking of Jordan Eberle, oh yeah, what about that guy? He had 16 goals, 24 assists for 40 points in just 56 games this past season. That is a 22 goal, 56 point pace over an 82 game season, which is pretty much Jordan Eberle every single year. Like I told you at the beginning of this video, 20 goals, round about 50 points. Yeah, well, it's not all about points, and he's not even a playoff performer. Are you sure? Over the last 2 seasons, Jordan Eberle has played in 30 Stanley Cup playoff games for the New York Islanders, putting up 9 goals, 14 assists, and 23 points. Or, over an 82-game season, which obviously you can't do in the Stanley Cup playoffs, a 26-goal, 63-point pace. It turns out the kid who made his name scoring big goals when it mattered still does. And he said to the Islanders, heck, I'll even give you a discount. His cap hit is now 5.5 instead of 6. Now, I'm not gonna blame the Athanasiou deal on Ken Holland. He was dealt a raw deal, obviously with COVID and everything. Plus, I like this trick this offseason. Forget the Athanasiou kid. Hey, how about a slightly used Jesse Puljujarvi? And that's all true. But, and I have no idea how they would fit this under the cap, wouldn't this Edmonton Oilers group be something with Jordan Eberle still on it? Stevie made $6 million. That would have been impossible. Okay, let me rephrase then. Wouldn't it be better if the return for Jordan Eberle was better than nothing? I know that's not totally fair, because in the Chris Pronger trade tree video, a trade where a lot of people seem to think the Oilers lost, I'm like, no, but this guy played for them a lot of games, this guy played. The Oilers didn't even get that out of this deal. Consider the fact that Sam Gagner is far and away the best player the Oilers got in this entire trade tree. Steve, that makes no sense. They got Ryan Strome, and where's he? I'm not really sure what the lesson is in this trade tree, but it's either a lesson in cap management or patience. Jordan Eberle made a name for himself by scoring with 5.4 seconds left. In terms of who won this trade tree, unless the Oilers can find a way to bring Athanasiou back, time's up. So that is it for this trade tree video. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a comment in the comment box down below and let us know how we did. Click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Icing can wait till the next whistle. It can wait.